whether I should continue with the challenge because it gets a little tough sometimes going day after day working on the same thing. But again, I said to myself, I have to demonstrate the same amount of perseverance that it's going to take for all of us as creators, professionals, musicians, artists to push through and do the things that are not so easy. And one of those things is getting all of our digital homes in order, which is why if you signed up at godandgigs.com/cleanup, you could get involved in this personal work together kind of challenge to make sure our digital houses, our websites, our social media, all those things need to be put together in place so that for the rest of this summer and for the rest of 2020, with everything that's going on, we need to be able to work to make sure that our audiences can see and find and see our best every single time they come to our websites. And that really does come back down to serving our audiences, serving the people who are sowing into our careers, who are we're supposed to be blessing. Like, I want to make sure that it's not simply something that looks like, oh, I need to do this just to make money, although it can help you make money, make an income, make a greater impact. What's probably more important is that you figure out a way to serve your audiences and see what they need. And if you figure out what they need, then you'll be able to also give them the art, the creativity, all the different things that go along with that, and it will help you to build your brand and help me to build my brand because I'm doing the same thing with my website and I'm doing it live. I'm doing it right here on my computer. Every time you will see a screenshot, it's not something I pre-recorded. It's me literally building up my website from scratch because it was not looking good at the beginning, and I decided to go ahead and make an effort to straighten it up and do things better than I had it before. If you saw my original website, it was a template site, and I just realized because I'm a musician, because I'm an artist, I need to do better. But I want to show you that you can do this in a small way without having to hire out to a bunch of designers right away. You can get the templates and the ideas down, and then if you want to bring in outside help, of course it's always a good idea to do that. But in this case, I wanted to do it right away and get the foundation set. And that way, if I decide to bring in somebody or work with somebody, I'll already have the ideas and the concepts down. I don't know if you watched yesterday, day 2, but I showed you my list where I was working on my stuff that I would be putting in my site, the different things that I wanted to write down and make it all, understand where the menus are going to be, what needs to be above the fold, what all the different landing pages and things that I want to eventually have. And it's going to take me a while to get it all together, but at least at the beginning I have an idea of what I want to do. So let me go ahead and kind of give you guys a background of where I'm coming from so far if you missed day 1 or day 2. So what I did at the beginning was I went ahead through bluehost.com, and you can figure out how to get your website. You can actually get a free domain for a year if you don't have a website yet. If you've never done this before, you can actually go to Bluehost through godandgigs.com/bluehost. You can get a free domain for a year. And remember, a domain is the actual name of your website, the xblank.com or .net or .org, whatever you decide, but most people use .com. That's where you get your domain, and you can get that at godandgigs.com/bluehost. And then I went ahead and registered and started up my WordPress installation on that domain name. So my domain name is alanpaulmusic.com, and now I have registered it and hosted it at Bluehost. And so now I am now building on it with WordPress and trying to figure out what kind of things I want in WordPress. And so many people use Wix or they use Weebly, and Bluehost works with those things, but you don't have to use Wix or Weebly or some other pre-formatted website. You can build your own, or at least come up with, again, the basics, which can help you then create your own website based on the template that you set up and a theme that you set up. I chose a theme called Parallax Bought that from Studio Press, and it's a nice looking theme. I am starting to think I might want to change some things about it, but I'm not sure yet. So I'm going to try out some things. And then today, what I wanted to work on is coming up with, if you saw day 2, I want to have something on the site that's a call to action, that's an immediate click to get this or click to get that. Something at the very top that's going to make it very clear that people can get something that is immediately upon getting to my website. So to do that, I have to make some kind of clickable button. Now, again, if you're not a web designer or someone like that, you might say, okay, well, I don't know how to do that. But I'm going to show you how in ConvertKit, I can create something. Well, using ConvertKit and Canva, actually. I might use a little bit of ConvertKit and Canva. Using those two tools together, and again, I'm doing this live, hasn't been prepared, haven't worked on it beforehand. I'm going to go ahead and start building out this particular page and putting that particular button there. And there's several ways I could do it, but I'm going to try to do it with a button that will be a pop-up, something that will pop up the second that they click on it, and that way I can immediately get people to either go to my website or not go to my website, go to my landing page or my mailing list and get on my mailing list. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go ahead here and let me see. Also, I'll make sure to pop out the chat. If anybody has any questions at all, feel free to jump in. Let's see, open and make sure I can see the chat in the browser there. All right, so let me go here to make sure this is in the right place. And I'm going to go to ConvertKit right now. ConvertKit, as you'll see when I go to this screen, is where you can build out landing forms and different mailing list areas where you can jump in, have people jump in and join your mailing list. So this is my actual page here for my mailing list, okay? And this is all the different places where people have joined my different forms, okay? And as you can see, I've had about 70 people join my mailing list in the last 30 days. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create a new form, and this new form, well, actually what's funny is that I do have a form already that's for my music page, but I kind of want a new one. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a whole new form for people to click on. And here are the two choices I have. I can either create a form or I can create a landing page. Now, once again, this is inside of ConvertKit. So if you're interested in ConvertKit, you can go to guideandgeeks.com/ConvertKit and you can sign up for a free version of this service. And the cool thing about the free version of ConvertKit is that you can build these pages for free as well. You can build landing pages and forms where people can get the information about your career. You can email them. They opt into this email list, and you can give them this information and build these forms right in ConvertKit for free. You don't have to sign up for a paid program to use this. I use one of the paid subscriptions because I have more followers. I have more than 1,000 subscribers. So that's why I end up using the paid version. But you can join for free. So as you can see, I can embed a form anywhere on my website, sales page, or landing page that I host myself. Because I own alanpaulmusic.com, I can go ahead and choose myself one of these forms here. And modal is the one that stands for the one that pops out. Now, inline would be one that's inline. In other words, it would be actually in the form. And I'm kind of, you know what, it actually could work either way. I could make it an inline form or I could make it a modal form. And then you can see there's also slide in, there's also sticky bar. So all these are different things that can fit in my website. But I'm thinking right now I'm going to make it a, you know what, I'm actually changing my mind even as I talk about it, because modal is great for when people click on it. But the problem is that if it's in a mobile device, pop-ups don't work as well oftentimes. I don't necessarily like the idea of a pop-up if people are looking at my website on a mobile device. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and use an inline form. Okay, so an inline form, once again, would go inside my website. Now the thing about this is that I don't want it to be too, like, I don't want it to take away from the actual look of the site. So I'm going to want it to be pretty spare. I don't want it to have a picture on it necessarily because there will already be a picture. So what I'm going to choose over here, I want to choose this one, Claire, which is very simple. It's really just a box where people can put their first name, their email, and subscribe. And I'm already thinking I'm going to change that name, and I'm not going to say subscribe. I'm going to say something like, let's say, yes, get me on the inside. Oh, I see what the box changed there. Okay. And knowing my color scheme, I'm probably going to change it to something a little more muted, maybe something a little more black, and I might want that font to be a little bit wider or bigger. So font, let's see, font weight normal, let's go bold. And I might want a little bit more of a rounded corner there. So you see, ConvertKit makes it really easy for me to quickly make a form that will be able to go inside my email address, my website. And when they tap on this, I can also say where to go, where I want them to go. If they want them to go to success message, redirect to an external page, or so on. And I can also send them an incentive email, which in this case, I won't send them an incentive email because I don't have an incentive right now. But eventually I'll also want them to send them something, and I can also auto confirm them or send them something where they click and then they will actually be asked to make sure that they want to be on my email list. But I'm not going to do any of those things right now because again, this is kind of like just me showing how I get started. Now here's the important part. When you guys get back to seeing what WordPress and ConvertKit, how they can work together and how I'm building my site here, you can embed this form inside WordPress in lots of different ways. Now you could do it with a plugin here. You can also share a hosted version of this form, which I don't really need to do because that's just gonna be one form. But what I want to choose right now is just HTML. And the reason I'm going to choose this HTML is because I want to embed this inside the site. And right now I'm not sure I'm going to use JavaScript. I want to use this because I know there's a section for HTML inside my website. So all I have to do is hit this copy button. Copies everything. And now I'm going to go back to my installation where I put WordPress on my site, Alan Paul Music, WP Admin. And I'm going to get back to, make sure I log in. And here's where I'm building my site again. Here's the inside of WordPress. And let's go to appearance and let's go to themes, or I could probably just jump in right here because it's already there. And if you were watching day 1 or day 2, you see that I already had this. And here's where I was. I wanted to make sure there was something underneath this. I already put this line, and as you can see, because I have this line here, I already have really what the call to action is. I want them to sign up for my Music Insiders. Okay, so really, again, very simple, nothing fancy right now. But even if all I have is a sign up page for this, I'm going to be a much happier camper than if I had like nothing at all. And one of the things that my old page had that I didn't like was the fact that there was no call to action right off the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going over here to, let's see, I believe it was in widgets. I'm going to go over here to my home section. You see, I already have that section here. Welcome to my musical world. And that's where I put my sign up. And now what I'm going to do is add my forms. I'm going to add a widget. Custom HTML is where I get to add anything I want that's in HTML code. And again, am I a coder? No, I'm not. I have no idea how all these little forms and buttons work in terms of the HTML and the code. But I did copy and paste. So all I got to do here is copy and paste. And let's see if the form appears. There it is. Okay. Now let's talk about this for a second. It appears a little bit too far away for my taste. As you can see, it's down here. I would rather it be farther up. So I can look at the different things in the form. And again, even though I'm not a coder, I can kind of tell, even when I look down here, that there might be something that has the width or the length of it a little bit too big where it's too far away from me. So there's two things I could do. I could simply ask somebody as a coder to help me fix that, so that they would probably go in just a couple of seconds and fix that for me and I wouldn't have to worry about it. Or I can go back to ConvertKit and look at how it's designed and see if I can change this so that it appears a little bit more in line. And this is one of those design elements that I'm being very honest with you, where I want to make sure I'm not trying to tell you that I know every single thing about web design. I just know that right now, at least if I had this in the first page, I'm in a much better position to have people to find what they need to find and do what I want them to do, which is go right to my website. Now, actually, I'm going to try one more thing. Yes, I just did that. I just add a widget, just custom HTML. And there's one other thing that I might try here, and that's something where you can add that information up to this section here. And I'm just curious to see what happens. So if I was to put that post, oh, look at that. Much closer. I like that a little better. It's a little bit out of shape. But you see how it's drag and drop, and immediately I get to see whether or not this fits. And so now it's a little bit closer. The button's a little bit weird, but I could probably update that button in ConvertKit. And now I have, and there is a ConvertKit section where I know exactly what it needs to do. You can actually change it so that the button is a little bit bigger, and it's pretty easy to figure out. And as you can see, just with a couple of buttons, I've already got my thing above the fold where they can enter their email and immediately get into my site. And let's see, I don't know if I can check it here. They may not let me check it inside this, but I could probably check it if I made the site live, but I haven't made the site live yet. So that's just one example of where quickly I could get something up there where it looks like I'll be able to get my mailing list as the first call to action, and it's the first thing that people see. So I'm pretty happy with that. Again, I'm going to go back to, let's do that just because I want to make sure we do fix it. And I want to show you that it is possible even for someone like me who doesn't know much about coding. Let's go back to ConvertKit and let's see if I can fix that form. Make it a little bit more appealing. Once again, I go to landing pages. You guys are seeing this all live. Let's find my newest landing page. Let's see, I'll do it by newest. That'd be the easiest way to find it. There's clear form. And there it is. And so there's this section called custom CSS. And so you can enter different things in this particular section. And actually, look, it didn't save the name I wanted it to save, which is interesting. I should have saved that as well. So let's go back and put this get me on the inside. Looks like I didn't save. That was not smart. So we'll save this. We'll save it like that. And again, it's different websites make things look different when it shows up in that particular form. So when I go back, it may not look like this again. I may have to change the color again and so on. So I already did that before. I'll do it one more time. And now what I wanted to do is look for a particular way of making this button a little bit more appealing. And so there's different ways I can do that, but in ConvertKit, they have really good, let's make sure I save again. They have really good documentation. And I'm just going to look up custom CSS and button. And there you can see right there that there's custom CSS for the new form builders, custom HTML, all this information that I could use right away to create a button and email and all this stuff that I could use. So I want to make the button a little bit more interesting or make it look a little better. I can find it right away. Here's an example. Subscribe button goes there. if I want to make the button a little bit, this is kind of what I'm talking about, to make the clean form full width right here. So if I just take this section, copy that again, not that I am, wait, let's see, is it this one? No, it's this one. Field, no, that is the right one. Make sure I got the right one to copy. Let's copy it, go back here, put it in custom CSS, and save. And now, should have saved this, make sure it's saved. Let's go back to my page and see if that fixed it. Let's see, I always have to type in the whole thing. And let's see if that fixed it. Customize my site. Let's see, it's still small. I think, oh wait. You know what I might need to do though? I should have gone in and copied this one more time. Embed. Copy. And now let's change this real quick, because this is still the old one. And there it is, text. Let's get rid of all this. Oh, and I think I remember something else I need to do actually. Lots of code. But goodbye. And let's put this here and see if it makes it any better. It's happening live. I'm very curious. Here we go. Oh, it made the other ones bigger. All right, so I'll have to play with this a little bit. But it did make this a little bit longer. So what I'm going to try to do later is I'm going to try to get that centered so that it looks nice. But at least I have it started. So there you have it. I have at least a beginning of my first name, email there. And if I want to put that in the middle right there, what I'll probably do is I'll probably ask someone for the coding to put that in the middle and center that particular section of the web page of the mailing list. So that was just an example. Like I said, I'm working with this a little bit at a time, as I told you guys before, where I am not going to be, rushing it or trying to make it super fancy. I'm just going to get it started so that I can build my pages one at a time, make sure it makes sense for me. And then, like I said, even if it doesn't look exactly the way I want it right now, it's going to be a lot better than what I had before. And I ultimately have control over it. So I can do some more research. I can look at that particular button, see if that's the way I want it to look, see if I wanted to like slide it over a little bit, change the wording, change the coding, change the colors. All of that's available through ConvertKit and through WordPress and all the other tools that I'm using. And so I could also create a button myself, use that as an image, which I also can do. And I thought about doing that in Canva, but I decided to do it all in ConvertKit right now just to see what it looks like. So now I at least have an idea of what it will look like. So once again, my day 3 is a wrap. I just wanted to try it out to see how that worked. I'm going to play with that a little more, and I want to see what you guys are doing with your website, specifically if you have a mailing list check-in or a place where people can opt in to your mailing list on your website above the fold. As you see, what I tried to do was make it so that they could type it in right away. You might decide you'd rather have a pop-up. You might decide that you'd rather have a separate page that they go to. But my advice would be to have something that they can check in right away. And again, I know people are thinking that email is dead, but email is still the best way for you to reach your customers. Definitely think about using godandgigs.com/ConvertKit. There's actually a free workshop tomorrow. This is the 29th that I'm sharing this particular day 3. On the 30th, around the same time, 2 o'clock, there will be a seminar, workshop, a free workshop that you can go to, and you can find out more about how to write your emails, create a better template for your emails so people will open them more often. You'll get better influence, a better connection with your listeners and with your audiences. So if you're interested in that, go to godandgigs.com/email workshop, and you can sign up for that free workshop on how to write your emails better, okay? We got plenty of other workshops there at that same page. It's sponsored by ConvertKit. I'm an affiliate of ConvertKit, so you do help my platform when you go there, but I'm not doing it because there's any kind of money involved. It's more because this is what I use. As you saw, I use that particular program. It's been the same program I've used for years. I'm very happy with it. It works very easily, as you saw. And all I have to do is do a couple of tweaks here and there, and I can figure out things. Go great customer service in terms of the help. So all of that's the reason why I would definitely recommend it. But if just to get the free workshop, it makes sense because that way you can figure out what you're going to do with your email list if you decide to use it, which I heartily recommend. So guideandgigs.com/email workshop. Let's do one more quick glance to make sure that we are clear of any questions. And if not, okay, cool. So I will be back on tomorrow for yet another version of our custom, what's called summer website cleanup challenge. It's hard to say that all together. And then if you have any other questions about what I'm doing, email me at alan@guideandgigs.com. And let's get some more information and share some more ideas about how you can make your place look better. And even if there's things you like, but you just want to say, okay, well, what do I do with this? Why do I have this? Make sure you know where your site is hosted. Make sure you know why you're doing what you're doing with your website. And then make sure that, like me, you figure out what you could change. If there's things you'd like to change and how you could change them. And if you need help, I'm going to be offering to the people who sign up at guideandgigs.com/cleanup. I'm going to offer some resources and people who are willing to sign to help you, and some recommended web designers and people who I might be contacting after they see what I started with. They could give me recommendations. They can give me all the feedback I need to make sure that my website works perfectly for my purposes. Okay. Thanks so much for joining me today for this version of the Creative Checkup, which is our cleanup challenge. I'll put more of this in the group very soon. So if you're watching this in the group, you'll see the assignment that I've put for those of you who want to join me in the challenge. And of course, those who sign up will be also eligible for the bonuses that I'll be adding on later this week. Okay. Take care. Thanks so much for being a part of today's challenge. I'll see you tomorrow.